Hi, yeah, I got a call from this number. My name is,
Oh,
yeah,
um,
my name is Ramona Mayon.
oh yeah, this is Sarah, the social worker from Adult Protective Services.
Oh, hi. Okay.
Hi, I also just emailed you, just checking in with you about how you were doing because it sounded like that email was pretty serious and a lot was going on. So
Yeah, it's a
I wanted to see.
crisis. Yeah, it's become a crisis. They brought me back my John Warner brought me back my the DMV papers. The RV had been paid for, but not the SUV, and he told me to find another mechanic and set up another uh, parameter for the repairs. So, it's just that Groundhog's Day feeling, you
Uh
know.
huh. Uh huh.
Yeah, so I'm a little mental at this point, and the police here, I can't overstate how much this man yelled at me, the cop. He just
Mhm.
I was literally in a on the street, uh just trying to discuss with him my son changing the alternator, but my boy's got Omicron, and it seems like it's just not getting better. So I don't want him over here and out and doing anything like that, like strenuous. And then he doesn't want to be here because of me being sick. So, and the cop just turned around and yelled at me so aggressively. What? And I it was kind of a funny moment because a part of me was like, this has never happened to me before. I don't know how to respond.
Mhm.
And then the second,
Mhm.
and then the immediate response after that was, "Oh wow, this guy really means to hurt me." And the more I dwelled on it, and I even wrote the city attorney, the deputy city attorney that was in charge of the first part of like when I first filed a lawsuit, and I told him these people want to kill me. There's just no, I'm not having it. I'm just not. I know it sounds over dramatic, but if someone takes your home away from you and you have cancer and you're in massive, what do they call that, complicated grief, that's someone trying to kill you. If they know that the other people are supposed to be helping and they're not, or they're taking their time, or whatever the bureaucratic crap is. But if the cop wants to just come and arbitrarily, I know the law, I know the seizure laws and all this stuff. And the guy looked at me so, I mean, I was just such a piece of litter, like human litter. And
Mhm.
I've come
Like more
to,
personal than it really needs to be.
yeah, it was personal. And again, I'm taking it in a humorous. Every woman I've talked to, I look right at him and go, "Oh my God, I'm 61 years old and I've never been yelled at by a man. I'm so
Mhm.
successful." And all
Mhm.
women look at me enviously. All of them have looked at me like, "Wow." But yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna, like I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna jump funny, you know. And that's how I felt when this whole thing started a year ago. I was really fragile, and I'm not
Mhm.
fragile now. I'm pretty good, and I'm gonna see this. This is just crazy, you know. It's very common. And from what I understand, the other people say that he's a really aggressive cop, and I don't care about any of that. I just know I'm working with Episcopal Services, and this is, once you're supposed to be doing that, you're not supposed to be targeted. And today's been really peaceful, except for me. I'm just like every car that goes by. I'm jumping up, looking out the window, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I feel like I feel better once I wrote, and I CC'd you in it. I felt like you were like the most neutral person in the whole situation. So the push is to get me to Candlestick Park, and I feel like my papers were held, my DMV papers and the whole repairs and stuff, delayed as a pressure point for that. And I'm never going out to Candlestick. I've researched it now, how thoroughly poisonous that is, and I mean, like, I've got lumps in my neck already, and I'm already starting to feel like a thickening in ways that I haven't had before. And my husband had cancer, so I have like a lot of knowledge, pre-illness knowledge to it, so I know how it
Mhm.
runs. And I feel like whatever
Mhm.
time I've got, I'm not going to like I'm trying to, you know, repair the things in my life and relationships that I can with my children and so forth. And to go out to Candlestick would be uh, make me sicker faster in a more like I don't care like I'm sure I explained it when you were here before about the being close to the Superfund site over in Antioch and being in court with that. I have a trial date May 16th, and I've been 3 years suing our former landlord for having us out there without permits on such a poisoned piece of land. So I have a lot of pre-knowledge about what goes on at these military industrial shipyards.
Mhm.
So everything that happened over at Episcopal Services stopped when I said I wouldn't go out to Candlestick. Like there had been delay after
Mhm.
delay after delay to get me repaired and up to Mendocino. This whole thing started April of last year. And
Mhm.
there was just, and I've documented, I put and it's what I do. I just document and I try not to be too overly dramatic, although I am sometimes. But that thing with the cop yelling at me for no reason, and I mean, I'm not going to ignore that like everyone else does. I've had a bus, our school bus in 2006 seized with children in it on this very road, so I know they'll do it. But see, they didn't have a Department of
Mhm.
Homelessness then. They didn't have services. It was every man for himself. And it pretty much destroyed our family. Like our family dysfunction began in 2006 as a result of it. And I'm not going into the Tenderloin or any kind of motel room. That's what killed my husband. As I really feel like the stress of that, losing our home, killed him. So I may seem
Mhm.
dramatic, but I've lived this experience before in this town. And this man looked at this cop, Officer Richards, looked at me with such hostility. I thought he wants to hurt me, and see what he can hurt me with is not a gun or his knee and there won't be anybody yelling in the streets when I'm dead. Okay, that's that whole thing about that black triangle. Nobody cares what happens to gypsies. Period. So I need to prevent my own death. This man will kill me with a tow truck. Okay?
Mhm.
And I'll be damned. It's just I've written too many. I've written books. I've written too many essays and too much legal stuff for sure. I have a new book coming out any minute. I'm waiting for the Kindle Create Space platform to approve it for the copyright stuff, but I'll have it out any minute. And but I have two proofs of it coming in the mail. They'll be here Monday, and it's called the legal. Start over. The Vehicle Dwellers Legal Primer, and it's a 10 lesson set of. It's just laws. The first part of it is just the laws that don't let us be treated this way, and it's like my contribution to, you know,
Mhm.
while I still have my brain with me, that's what I put it to this whole time. I'm sorry to
Mhm.
babble on like this, but I'm so upset. Like I'm not trying to uh you know uh,
So it sounds like, so just let me recap real quick. So it sounds like things got really ugly with this particular officer. You wrote this letter and you ended up getting your paperwork back from John as of yesterday or today?
yes, yesterday, like within about 45 minutes of I sent it to everyone first at Episcopal and to you. And then I sent it to, after about 3 or 4 hours, I didn't get any response. So I sent it to the deputy city attorney. I sent him a copy. And then within about 45 minutes, Mr. Warner showed up.
Mm,
And then,
okay.
and then I emailed with him a little bit about why the car wasn't involved. And he emailed me back with some reason that wasn't logical. And that's where it's been left at. Today I just kind of rested because when I get real upset, I tend to like feel really bad the next day. So I'm not like making
Mhm.
any decisions or any, like I've just kind of rested today and stayed, trying not to be. No one's come by, and everyone out here, the other people in RVs, they're, um, you know, it's just difficult. Like everyone is upset, and they come to me wanting advice and stuff, and it's not like that. I tell everyone to get your own cases, go into the system with these people, and you've got to like wrestle with it. You can't just like, you know, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
yeah,
And I mean, you sound, you're a person who has the writing skills. It sounds like the good research skills. So you're kind of ahead of a lot of people, and they're looking for guidance. But you're right. You can't fix
right.
everybody else's problems. You got
No,
your
and,
own to
and
deal
these
with right now.
people, yeah, these people are one step off of being feral. Some of them are.
Mhm.
Like I literally have a
Mhm.
shelf. I have a shelf by my front door for food for feral people. I mean, peanut butter
Mhm.
and portable food and a few toiletries and stuff, and it's just pretty horrific to interact with them. And then there's a group even below even that you can't even don't even dare to reach out to them because you'll never unlatch them from you. Like there's just no
Right.
help down here whatsoever. And then the groups
Mhm.
that are above the feral, they're so dysfunctional. Like I can understand completely why the neighbors want us all gone, but nonetheless, these are human beings, and this is the most progressive
Right.
city in the country, and in the most democratic country. Like I'm
Mhm.
all that researching and writing skills and litigation skills because I've been in and out of court, civil court myself, doing civil court, not criminal stuff. But so, we all know I'm litigious, so I don't understand how this is like what I'm looking at. Like I've traveled. I grew up overseas. I'm an expatriate. So my dad was in the oil business. So I've been in third world countries, and what I'm looking at, it's very small. It's a micro because it's not like well, it is. Like I'm sure you guys see it. Like not you, but like the Department of Homelessness. This is ridiculous. Like this is just bloody ridiculous. There's no cause for this. This is okay. Okay, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my that was
So
my explosion.
I wanted to check. I wanted to check in though. You wrote that you were on a hunger strike,
I had
or
been
did I
no, I had
misunderstand?
been before. No, when this whole thing started from until April 14th when Episcopal services came from December 24th when I got my RV back and the neighbors erupted in anger, where it was towed into. They were furious, like it was pretty scary. I know what a lynch mob feels like now to be a southerner, white southerner, and then to come here and experience it is, yeah, so I'm glad I'm a writer anyway. But yeah, so from April until April 14th, so for 113 days I was on a modified I call it a hunger strike, but it's more like a Lenten fast, like it's based on the Daniel book of Daniel, and you could Google it, but it's called the Daniel fast. And I still am on a modified version of it because I don't eat a lot of solids. Like my diet is almost liquid now, and you know,
Okay.
I'm
Like
scared.
you're not
I'm
so emaciated or starving or anything that I need to have the nurse come out and
no,
see you again.
we already
Okay.
no, it's not like that. It's a combination of a religious thing of I've always observed Lent, and then when I began this as a political person, of course we all know the power of a hunger strike, and I'm sure the city hall couldn't take the signs. I mean, I would hear people walking by for the 113 days this went on, calling the police, please check her, calling someone, check on this lady, because I had signs outside on the
Mhm.
RV. And eventually the pressure plus the litigation and Mr. Goldman at the city attorney's office, he's a champion as far as I'm concerned. He's just a kind person. Like I really feel like he sees but his hands tied. You see what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
we had exchanges before and also in court. So I feel like I'm just all right. I'm gonna say this very carefully because I know I'm talking to Adult Protective Services. If it comes down to them, and they tell you this, the cops tell us these, they'll drag us out. Okay, no one films this stuff. No one. We're not the right color. It's not the right. People want us gone. It's not like the second half of my book is about 48 pages of all the things that have happened to gypsies and travelers and nomadic people for 633 years, and it's mostly bullet points. And what happens here when a cop looks at you like that and tells you, a sick woman, widowed and in poverty, that he'll just take your home away from you, you know you are following in a line of racial hatred. So the second half of the book, the first half is American constitutional law, case citations, and then in between each one of the 10 lessons is, and it's all citations. It's nothing me talking. The first, only the title of the lesson. In between each of those is about 4 or 5 lined pages, and then but the second half of the book, that's what I'm waiting on the copyright to pass at Amazon. I hope I don't have to edit it again. But anyway, it's all stuff, not just Hitler stuff, not just stuff that happened to the Nazis. Some of the stuff that happened way before is even more horrific, extremely violent. And I don't see the point of people forgetting this. Like it's so, and then I'm looking at it right here in front of me. So my point being, if they try to put me in Candlestick or in a awful room in the Tenderloin, um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go all the way with it. I'll terminally dehydrate. Like that's one of the reasons I've stuck to this Daniel fast for so long. And I do, I have medical care with my doctor out in Martinez, and I mean Antioch. I have meeting, talk with her teleconference once a month. Um, so I do have medical care, but basically, I'm not going to take my housing rights. I'm not taking them seriously. And a person of my poverty level and social economic status, and the RV dwelling thing, I am
Mm-hmm.
politically powerless. So that's my First Amendment right to say, this is what I'll do. And that's what I told the guy in the city attorney. Take my RV, and I'll set up my tent right here in the corner and sell my book from it and stay in this hotel. I swear I'll sell 7 copies a day of my
Mm-hmm.
revolution oriented book. I've had it.
Mm-hmm.
People have got to start taking us seriously. It's not me at this point. It's like this is very, the pandemic's climbing, and everyone's, I'm not looking at the hospitalization numbers. I'm not looking at the infection rate numbers. How can we know that? No one's testing. No one has tests. That thing must be 10 times what it actually is being reported. I'm watching death rates in the hospitals. Okay. And they're up to 1,500 or so, 1,800 a day sometimes. I have cancer. I'm 61. I was overweight with high blood pressure. I'm not anymore, but the cancer's still there. It's growing, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a right to self isolate. These people do not have the right to yell at me and tell me they're going to take my home and kill me, because that will kill me, and that I'm not. I
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go to court to say that. Like it's just a matter of time. It's not. Like I'm sorry to go on and on, but I'm not being, you know, it is a war out here. And these people, all these other people, it's just a matter of time until they become swept up into something. They lose their vehicles, they get in a tent, and then they get swept up into some shelter situation. Charles Dickens,
Mm-hmm.
England. This is like Charles Dickens, old Victorian. Workhouses were better. I don't know how y'all do this. Like, I'm not talking about you personally at all. I'm not talking about you, the city, or I'm just talking about everyone who is in a helping position, who's a mandated worker, who has to look at this day in and day out and has no ability to change it. I do. Okay, like I know what I can go and say in court and get the attention of how this has all gone down, but I'll be damned if they're going to drag me out of this RV. Like when it first started, I told all the cops I'll blow it up with my propane. I'll blow me and the RV up. with a bottle of propane. That's why they left me alone in the beginning when I was on the hunger strike. You can imagine how they reacted to that. They left me the hell alone. So did Episcopal Services. So did the Department of Homelessness. But I just kept steady working with people I know. I've got the roof repaired. I've had only one little drop of rain on me this whole time. It's been awesome. I mean, I've put tires on it. I've mostly fixed the car. I've steadily worked on stuff. I'm a practically self-sustaining adult.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it sounds like you're clear. This is not only a personal experience, but it seems like it is a political experience for you too. You're making a stand um, for your beliefs and how you want things to change. Primarily, I got this email out of the blue, and I just wanted to make sure that you weren't in such an emotional, fragile state that you're going to hurt yourself today. What you're
Thank
telling
you.
me now is
Yeah,
you're making a stand.
I appreciate you for calling. You're literally like the only person I've talked to besides the people out here, and they're just. I mean, they don't even know what's. They're like talking to people inside a mental institution, to be honest. And I appreciate you calling me, so I could just say this, so no one would, like try to 5150 me, mostly.
Right, right,
I'm
right.
not I'm
It
not
doesn't sound like
I'm
you're
not
there.
suicidal. I'm not. I just can't go where they want me to go, and I won't. I won't.
Hmm.
I'm willing
And you're
to.
letting them know how serious you are, how
Yes,
much this means to
because
you.
because of the cop, not because of John, not because of the DMV, not because of anything else, but the way that cop just looked at me and yelled at me. And after all the things I've written and all of the research I've done, and like I said, 633 years of law, I mean, of laws against gypsies and travelers, that's a lot of research and a lot of really gory things to read about to pick out, 18,000 words to frame, right? So when you're looking at a cop in your own situation tell you what he was saying to me, no, I mean, I know I'm an intellectual. There's a reason an intellectual's an intellectual, right? So when I saw that, and I was like, oh no, I'm reaching out to other people. I'm not letting this turn into something that I will. No, I'm not. I'm just not.
Right. It's kind of crossing a different line with this particular officer.
Yeah, and he's it's
It,
hey, I understand look, I'm looking at it from I know that sounds like turncoat or anything, but these people drive me crazy with their trash and their fighting and their drugs and their BS and everything. And but nonetheless, they still have housing rights and human rights. Nonetheless,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
I get it. And I the way my litigation is framed, I feel like acknowledging that RV dwellers exist is going to liberate people in the helping industry on your end. Like people will not be in tents. They'll be able to be in vehicles, and then vehicles will lead to
mm-hmm,
having to put them in parks, or there won't be any parking for anyone. Like there's a force here of it's not me as much as it is this is America, and we're innovative that way. I mean,
mm-hmm,
I feel like the developers are
mm-hmm,
so heavy handed with the politicians. They've just clamped down so hard on any alternatives. But the pandemic changes
mm-hmm,
that. Like, if people will not look at me like a crazy woman and understand that I'm going somewhere with this, like in a really practical way. Like, I'm not trying to ruin people or make a crisis or no, I'm trying to go after litigation that unleashes services for the people who can be self-sustaining. Like, let's get this stopped before everyone is in a tent groveling in the mud. I mean, it doesn't
mm-hmm,
have to be this. Like, if we would just let RVs into the plan, people would be able to, like, there's a theory of why it's like this, and it's necessary to be understand capitalism, to understand the scarcity model, and that's what it is. Like in order to keep the value inflated of other poverty housing, it's very necessary to
mm-hmm,
make sure there's nowhere the very, very poor can go to, like an RV or a school bus or whatever, you
mm-hmm,
know. So, there's a lot of social engineering goes on, and I've spent almost well, no more. 2 decades, some odd now, studying constitutional law and community planning laws and like just a ridiculous amount of uh, obscure things like that. And I feel like I've cracked the code. Again, I don't want people to think I'm crazy, though. Like there's a lot of I'm under a lot of pressure. My own children are like, they can't help me, but they're there. Like they're emotionally there, and
Mhm.
to some extent. And you know, like I'm not gonna crack, because if I crack, I'll never get this across in court. And
Right.
if I can get it across in court, Mayon versus San Francisco will be to gypsies like Brown versus the Board of Education. Like it will free us. Like we'll be able to be part of society, and then that alone will make homelessness just be less than it is now.
Mhm. Mhm.
This
Yeah,
is
you have a vision. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not letting go of it, and I'm not letting anyone crack me, and I'm not letting anyone take, like, uh, thank you for calling me. I really needed to get across the point that I'm just a serious person, and I'm not taking care of my husband now. He was sick for so long, and I don't have children now, and I'm taking what energy and life space I have force right now to do this, and
Mhm.
I'm not letting these feral people around me crowd in and stop it, and I'm not letting any cop, you know. I feel sorry for
Totally.
them. I feel sorry for them. It must be horrible to be that person, you know, like
That's
who,
good perspective.
yeah, you're like
Yeah.
I
Very, very
yeah,
compassionate.
yeah. So I just want to leave it at that and not take up any more of your time. Like I really do have a lot of compassion for the very people I'm litigating against. Like it's not a personal thing for me at all. Like it's not. It's just,
Mhm.
I mean, I tell everyone from the hot team on up. I'm like, gosh, if when I'm successful, y'all will all look back on me and go, gosh, she was right. Aren't we? Aren't it? Isn't our job easier? Isn't it great? We can just go from RV to RV. And they all laugh and they're like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. And so I try to get across
Mhm.
that, we're all kind of on the same page, even though you don't think I am. Okay, so
Well,
yeah,
we need to be looking at alternative solutions, and you're
yeah.
putting a big one right in front of us, and maybe it's just so new for so many people and a new way to think, and they just haven't gotten around wrap their brain around it. So.
Yeah, and the pandemic is an opportunity, like Dick Cheney, our former vice president, said, there's a don't waste a good crisis, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I mean, we need to think,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to do something, and I feel like I'm blessed because I've got a limited space here to do it in, but I'm not gonna, you know, I've come too far, too hard in the academic world, and put up. I got an invitation today from academia inviting me into a discussion about your Eastern European Roma nomadic something 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 at the bottom of the little letter. It says, and because of the kind of writing you do on academia.edu, we've invited you to come into this discussion with other professors and people like that. And I was just like, oh, okay, there's my ego stroke for
Yeah, it's validating. Good for you.
yeah, I sent it screenshotted and sent it to all my kids and stuff, and I was like, oh wow, I could be sitting around talking to Eastern professors on Zoom about how it is over
Yeah.
there. Yeah, so I do feel that,
Congratulations.
thank you.
That's great.
Yeah, so
That's great.
I'm really trying to bring like a higher level of like, I'm not criticizing the homeless coalitions or the advocates or anything. They're just it's crazy, what they say, if you don't keep doing the same thing thinking you're going to get a different outcome, it's crazy.
Right.
And they've been doing the
Right.
same thing for 3 or 4 decades now. They need to think out, you know. So that's where I'm at.
Right.
Okay.
Different ideas. Right.
Right. So I'm not
Okay.
suicidal. I'm not on your go checklist. So I'm just really,
Okay.
my back's against the wall, and I feel like if everyone would just see it out here for what it is, we could, you know yeah. So
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for calling back and giving me an update.
thank you for calling me.
I, yeah. I mean, I guess if you need to have somebody to talk to, you are welcome to call me. I can't solve the problems, but sometimes it's good to just get it off your chest. So You are
Thank
welcome to
you.
utilize me that way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay.
You are the
Okay.
kind you
Well,
are
let's.
literally the kindest face I've seen of the city so far. I mean, you really are like
That's
the kindest
that's
person I've
sad to
met.
hear. That's not good. That is not good.
Well,
Well,
that's good that you understand that though. You see what I mean? Okay.
okay. Well, again, this is my cell. You're welcome to call me if something comes up and you need to talk.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sarah. All righty. You have a good
Okay.
day. All
Take care.
righty.
You too. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.